Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 9th Delphi Economic Forum here in Delphi. In the next 35 minutes or so, we're going to discuss a subject which is really huge. The title of the subject is Changing the Culture of Giving. So for this subject, I'm going to have a really important team of speakers, and I'm going to introduce them right away. Mr. Kluser. How are you, sir? Good morning.
Thank you.
General Secretary of the UEFA Foundation for Children. Thank you for being here. Ms. Katerina Zherebtsova. Thank you for being here. Programs Director of Charles Antetokounmpo Family Foundation. We're going to call it CAFF from now on, okay? All right. And Ms. Angeliki Kosmopoulou. Thank you for being here. Executive Director of the Athanasios Laskaridis Charitable Foundation. Thank you for being here. And at the end of the panel, I thank Mr. Panos Konstantopoulos, President of Kaizen Foundation, Kaizen Gaming. Thank you for being here, Mr. Konstantopoulos. I'm going to start some way awkward. Like, I'm going to ask Mrs. Kosmopoulou, are you okay with this? It's going to be the first question. And I was thinking that in order to change the culture of giving, actually, you need a narrative. Everything needs a narrative. Narratives are the way that more or less humanity went forward. What kind of narrative do you think we need to change the culture of giving in this actually AI era?
Thank you for this great question. I'm a storyteller on top of my other role, so I think I'm in familiar territory now. You're right, narratives, that is, stories are everywhere, and we use stories to understand the past, to figure out the present, and also to try to visualize the future. And this last bit is very, very useful when it comes to philanthropy.
I want to say, once you hear the winds of change.
Yes, winds of change, okay. You can see they're blowing. So let's remember what we are using stories for. Mm-hmm. We are using stories to transfer information, to explain things to people, to create a context for data. We live at the time of data, but we need context to put them together and to help us understand what's going on. We need also stories to close the gaps. And we need them to show a future, a different future. And this is when, they become important in philanthropy. We live at a time that is highly polarized and fragmented. So I think that the narratives for this time need to be authentic, mm-hmm. emotional. At the time of AI, when there are so many concerns about whether stories will be redundant. No, we do need stories, and stories will be around because they are emotional and they're authentic, because human experience is authentic. And we need also stories that are inclusive at the time of diversity. We're hearing more and more about the D&I agenda, and stories that can piece people together, allowing them to work in groups, to see common hope, and at the same time retain their individuality. Mm-hmm. So I think that this is an important collective narrative that is going to show us a way forward in this AI era.
Thank you for this. Okay.
You can hear it all, huh?
Yes, the winds of change. Now I'm going to go to Mr. Konstantopoulos next to you. You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Actually, everybody knows that Kaizen is a company with a very distinct social profile. It's very strong. You have a very strong CSR present. But after all, at the very bottom, the main ingredient is human being, is people. So you have to invest in human beings, in people's virtues. I don't know what's your opinion about this.
Let me start by saying that Kaizen has always embraced social responsibility. Mm-hmm. So since day one, people were behind every decision. It was a team effort in order to do anything that is about returning to society. Clearly, sports was at the beginning the idea behind every CSR activation we had. But after 12 years, we have expanded our activations. Let me say that, let me bring you some examples. more than 60,000 kids have been benefited from the program Young Heroes and have participated in free educational programs in Greece. Very recently in Portugal, we created a sensory room in Porto FC Stadium, promoting inclusion for children, people that are having sensory challenges, that are facing sensory challenges. And at this point, I want to say that when we were preparing for this project, I read that almost 1% of the global population faces sensory challenges. It's huge. And last but not least, I would like to bring an example that will be very familiar to our audience, our support to the athletes. We have been supporting athletes from the beginning of their career, like Lefteris Petrounias, Katerina Stefanidi, Miltos Edoglu. So from the beginning of their career to the statue that they are today, they are golden medalists. They have won Olympic medals, World Championship, and this is something that makes us very proud. Of course, people is always the key ingredient behind everything we did in Kaizen. People are also behind the creation of Kaizen Foundation. It is driven by people for people. So, although we are a very young foundation, our first two grants show the path we will follow. The first one is that we undertook the renovation, the total renovation of Pedon Pedelis, the Children's Hospital in Pedeli, yes. A project around 4 million euros. Last month, we renovated a whole floor in the pediatric hospital of Pitesti in Romania, a small city outside Bucharest. Of course, besides and beyond health support, as a foundation, we're going to provide opportunities for educational growth, and we are going to support all the people we can, people that are underserved and in need.
Thank you. Now I come to you, Mrs. Zherebtsova. And I understand that in CAFF is actually deeply rooted to the experiences and the values of the Antetokounmpo family, obviously. And I was wondering, how does that influence the philanthropy, and actually how does that influence whatever you do to change the way of giving and other people's lives?
Thank you. First of all, I love what you said, Angeliki, about the power of the story, and Panos about people being at the heart. I think absolutely at Charles Antetokounmpo Foundation and for Antetokounmpo family, the story is at the heart of everything.
Background, origin story.
Exactly.
Like a textbook background.
It's incredibly inspiring. So it's their struggle and their success as well that defines our philosophy. So Charles Antetokounmpo Family Foundation was founded by the family to honor their late father Charles and the values that he instilled, which was family above everything, which is the key to the philosophy about the people. Kindness, hard work, but most importantly, giving to others. They didn't have anything, and they gave to the community. So this is really at the heart of everything we do. Our goal is to break down the barriers that isolate vulnerable communities and empower them through sport, education, and basic needs, which is, again, back to the story of the family. So really, how we do it is we bring partnerships, we create partnerships with the communities, with the governments, to create programs aiming at integration and inclusion of these vulnerable communities. So one of the programs is Antetokounmpo's Academy. It started with sport, it started with kids, which is kids and families are our main target audience. Again, back to the family. Refugees, migrants, and Greek families. And what we see in our academy, it's kids from 35 different countries. We have 5 official languages. There's 100 kids every year that we look after. Sport, education, and most importantly, pathways. So they get pro basketball pathway, they get university scholarships, but also job training for those who, for some reason or another, has never been able to get educated, because we know that a lot of kids come from war-torn countries that they've never been to school. So again, we are bringing different partners, like Orgon Food for a meals project, like Bioiatriki for the healthcare for kids and then the families, and now working on a job training program. So overall integration, our motto is one team for all, one family, and who knows it better than Antetokounmpo family.
Thank you. So Mr. Kluser, to you. Actually, when we're talking about football, the whole planet, when it's watching football and it's talking about football, it means Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester City, Panathinaikos, which is my team.
Olympiacos.
Olympiacos. Okay. No, it's talking about the top level. But football is much more than this, and especially for children. And I want your comment and your thoughts about this.
Thank you, Maki. First of all, thank you very much for having us here at this important forum. It's really a great honor to be here and also be able to express our opinions. You're right, football is more than that. I don't know if you allude to the famous quote of Bill Shankly, who was the Liverpool manager. He actually said that football is not, at times for him, you know, football is not a matter of life and death. It's much more than that. Oh. So it is actually, it is actually, you know, it's emotions, it's dreams, it's hopes, and, you know, for young people, they're idols. So football represents a great tool, and sports in general, to actually improve the situation of children. That's also why, you know, UEFA, as the European football body, has decided to found a charity like ours to help children. And you know, this is not just about the numbers, but we are a young child still. We are 9 years old, but we managed now to give and to support over 500 projects across the globe. 55 million have been spent. But it's not just about this, you know, it's also, I think with our work, I know with our work we can impact and even change the lives of children. Yes. And this is, you have to see this, you have to be there on the ground, and if you do this with perfect partners, good partners, like, you know, the charity that Katja is working for, it's a great thing, and Philanthropy can do this. People have to understand, you know, you really have an impact, and I always say I have the best job in the world, because, you know, I get money from football, and can spend it on children and improving their lives. My colleagues are jealous of me, I hope, at least. You know, there is great examples that is being done right now. I think the football industry does a lot, and it's not always known, and rightly so, you know, they should. But when I see what the clubs and these organizations are doing across Europe, there's many examples, you know, like coming to mind, I think a project that we have in the Dutch Premier League, where the clubs support, each team supports a team of young people that are mentally challenged, and having them in the stadium playing matches like the big leagues against each other. Or, you know, also I was in South America recently, and again, you know, of course it was probably a little bit a selective bias, but all the clubs and the leagues that were there were showing great examples how they cater to the community. It starts in the community, but many of them tackle bigger social issues then, you know, and there is manifold of these examples. Coming also back to Greece, you know, we are working here, you know, Greece is a country that has suffered from the global migration a lot, so we're trying to use the sport for this to help this integration. There is great organizations like CAF, but also we work with ActionAid, I think, in Greece. We had a fantastic cooperation with the football legends from 2004. Yes. You know, these guys, I think they have this association, which, first of all, it's good for them to be together and have fun, but they're mainly motivated today in helping children with their charitable activity that they do. And this is what it is all about. And I can just say that, you know, philanthropy is worth it, and you have to do it, and you can impact the lives of children, and football has to do this, and rightfully so.
Thank you for this. So, Mrs. Kosmopoulou, to you again. Talking about narratives, the most attractive narratives come from fake news. it's a privileged area for fake news narratives. And especially giving is a very common victim of narratives in fake news. How can you fight this?
Well, fake news are very sexy because they're very sexy when they are surrounded by attractive narratives because they're very emotional and they cater to our lowest needs. They cater to things that we really like, and they tend to reinforce our beliefs. So they never go against the norms. I mean, they try to go to our humblest instincts, and this is why they work. And they're very dangerous for that, because there are lots of other things that should be brought to our attention. And philanthropy here can be very helpful. Can be very helpful in, first of all, fact-checking, in helping people, educating people, making younger people become media literate so that they know for themselves, they can focus on data, they have a better understanding. Also, we have the responsibility to circulate more good stories. It's as if, if you look around in the news, everything is so bleak always, because this is the type of story that sells. This is valid. There are lots of reasons for us to be concerned. But at the same time, there are so many other good news that never really make it to the media. And it's our responsibility to find and highlight these stories, because these stories can work as a paradigm. I mean, look at the Antetokounmpo family's example. I mean, it's a great story. And we don't hear these stories as much. So we need to educate people. We need to check the facts ourselves. And we need to promote the types of narratives that can propel us forward to the inclusive world that we would like to see around, because we're part of this. And this is a role that is reserved for philanthropy, and we can work together with the media to gradually improve it.
Thank you. Now I come to you again, Mr. Konstantopoulos. And the scope of Kaizen Foundation is global. And I was wondering, what were the characteristics of Greek people that you have to take advantage of, and the ones that you had to leave apart? Because you had to leave apart some of them, to leave them on the side.
Thank you for the question.
In order to manage this.
So, Kaizen started 12 years ago, and very fast we became global. What we did is actually, when we decided to create the foundation, is to listen to local needs and provide bespoke solutions and making grants that are related to every market we operate. Right now, we are in 16 markets, and by 2026, we intend to expand to another 10 markets. So it's called 2626. By doing that, we want to, and through the Kaizen Foundation, we want to scale our business and maximize the effect. We'd like to work with international partners like UEFA Foundation for Children, like CAF, because most of the problems, the global problems that we're facing, such as climate change or the recent pandemic we faced, they demand for a united response and action. As for the characteristics, I will borrow the characteristics we had in our business and say that resilience and acting fast to change were the strongest points. And these are the main characteristics that will infuse Kaizen Foundation's philosophy. As for the characteristics we left behind, I will say just one is the we will do it tomorrow behavior we had in the past. So we want to do things, we want to collaborate, and we want to scale our business and maximize the effect of Kaizen Foundation.
Thank you. So I come to you again, Ms. Zherebtsova, and I was wondering, from your perspective of CAFF, what are the changing dynamics you observe? The theme is changing the culture of giving, and actually in philanthropy. And actually, what is the role of CAFF in this, let's say, ecosystem of giving?
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I really love the title of the panel, The Changing Culture of Giving. So I would say there are 3 shifts that I see, that we see. First of all, is a shift from kind of just giving to active citizenship. So personal social responsibility on top of corporate social responsibility and holding our leaders accountable. We see individuals noticing what is wrong with the world and wanting to do something about it. And individuals on very different levels, from just, you know, kind of a person waking up in their room to big donors to, and I think that's where we want to work with our donors, and we do, and we really bring them into our programs. We integrate, we create programs together, such as what I mentioned with Urban Food. We created CAF kitchens. We provide hot meals and monthly food boxes for the families. Via Yateki Nutrition, we provide healthcare. We're working on other programs, but really integrating, bringing people closer to the community in need, rather than just kind of creating distances. I would say the second one is athlete philanthropy. I think you talked about the power of sport, and in this age, athletes are such incredible role models that the youth is looking forward to, but also, you know, they really bring generations together. And especially with Antetokounmpo family, I mean, my personal experience is that they bring out the best version of yourself. Really, you want to be the kindest person, you want to be the best person you can be because of their example. And the third one, I think especially in Greece, I see the focus on people, so what Panos was saying, really creating integration, bringing the community closer. There's a lot of amazing grassroots efforts. We were discussing with Urs. I was in Lesbos refugee camp last month, and I saw with movement on the ground, and it was incredible to see how they empower the people, so the refugees who are, you know, in a really, really dire situation, kind of stuck in a limbo, fleeing there and not certain of their future, and still they empower them to volunteer as cooks, as translators for the community, as coaches for the kids. So these are the people that we want to help, bringing companies together, government, community, kind of as an amplifier effect, because we believe that philanthropy is a team sport.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for this. Mr. Kluser, Albert Camus, the great French writer and philosopher, wrote that and said that whatever I learned for life, I learned it from football. He was a goalkeeper himself. And how can a charitable foundation like yours promote this very substance of football and change the culture of giving, especially to children, which is the main goal, I suppose?
Maki, what a great question. They told me that you're a big literate, so we talk about Albert Camus today, but I think Albert Camus, you know, what he liked about football, that it presents the absurdity of life. Life, and like football, is a fight, is a battle with victories, with defeats, with, you know, comebacks, and happy endings, not so happy endings, like for Greece in the European qualification, you know, which is a pity, by the way. So football has all these positive values as the universal sport today in the world. I think we are, you know, one, if not the most observed sport globally. And this includes, like, you know, values like respect of each other, respect of rules, teamwork, discipline, and much more. And these values can actually be used very much in the terms of giving back to children. Most of our projects, I would say 95 of our projects, actually use the values to instill the values and to use the values to improve the situation of these children. You know, that is really part of what we so-called Football for Good network today does in Europe, but also in other parts of the world. And you know, you have, I mean, we mentioned inclusion already and integration. It's a big buzzword today, and it's really, it's a great tool to use this. But you know, for me, football always did that. When I was young, we played football on the pitch or in the street, and everybody was welcome. It didn't matter where you're coming from. Switzerland also has a big migration, you know, at the time. And you didn't look where someone was coming from or what he was. You wanted to have the best goalkeeper and the best player in your team, you know. Doesn't matter if he was from Greece or from Italy or whatever. You come with me, you know, Makis, you play with me. So, so this is really something that can be used, and it works so well. You know, and talking about stories, Angeliki, we can provide you hundreds of positive stories, and I think Panos also makes this experience. We were working in the refugee camp in Jordan with Syrian refugees, and my colleague who was working there, she said, you know, in the beginning, those children, they came from the war, they were totally traumatized. They were playing football, we had this sports program, and they couldn't finish a match. It will always finish in violence, you know, no respect of the rules, nothing happened, nothing worked. And then the sport and the program helped to bring these children back to society, also because, of course, this gave the organizations access for counseling to them. And this is, you know, actually the results of what you can see. Or we have a separate program for girls with a separate pitch in this environment. And at the end, you know, after 5 years or so, the results was that like early marriage or early birth for girls went down because they have a better self-esteem. And they defend themselves and they develop their personality. And there is plenty of these examples. You know, we work with these football values in to give access to children to sports, to let them play, or to have handicapped children, you know, give them access to sport. You know, and in these little things already that can change. We were here I think, in one of the finals of the Super Cup. The president took a girl that has a neurological handicap to give out the medals. Yes. And afterwards, I mean, it made me cry, I have to say. Afterwards, the grandparents actually sent pictures, and they said, you know, this was so important for us, and the girl went back to school, and all of a sudden she was the star of the school, and it impacted her life. And the grandparents actually took pictures from the TV screen and send it around to all their friends on WhatsApp, you know. So again, you know, we always only see Champions League and what all the bling around it, but I think really the values that can be transmitted, they are great, and football can do that, and hopefully we can be part of this. And I think what was mentioned, we should use these kind of things in giving, not just giving money, but applying values, and that will improve how we give in the future.
So we have only 4 minutes and 20 seconds, so it's not a matter of making another question. And I was wondering, I wanna go to you, just to give me maybe a last thought, maybe a statement regarding the subject that we're talking, changing the culture of giving, which is really, few words, huge subject. So let me start the other way around. Mr. Kluser, I'm going to start with you.
Sure.
A statement, a thought.
No, I think my statement is get involved, apply yourself as a company or as an individual, and apply values, and you can impact and change lives.
Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to go to the gentleman at the end, Mr. Konstantopoulos.
In my opinion, there is room for collaboration. So it's a collective responsibility for all of us to sit down together and take actions. There are a lot of needs out there, globally speaking, so we should not sit behind our seats, our beautiful offices and desks, and be theoretical. Let's do some action.
And Mrs. Zherebtsova, going to you.
I would actually agree. I think, again, personal responsibility, being curious, like opening your eyes a bit about what's happening around you. Absolutely, everyone can make a difference. And also, philanthropy as a daily hygiene. Wake up, brush your teeth, philanthropy, you know, as everyone.
Ms. Kosmopoulou?
Well, I agree with pretty much everything, but I would add to it that I think that we should remember that we should listen more. I mean, we are responsive to changes, and we have to be responsive to human needs. And as Panos says, if we sit behind our offices and just do as we assume, we're not going to go very far. We should spend more time listening, understanding things that are not heard, that are not verbalized, so that we can really cater to the world around us. And remember, philanthropy works on 2 tiers. One is the strategic one. This is the one that you can do if you are behind your desk. The other one is the actual response, the response at the time of crisis. And there you need flexibility. And to be flexible and to be able to give the most that you can give, you have to be able to train yourself to sit back and listen.
If you allow me a last comment from my side, as I see you here, Kaizen and Laskaridis Foundation, and CAFF and UEFA Foundation. Actually, I was thinking that the word company is a complex word coming for con pane, Italian, meaning eating bread together. So maybe you can cooperate in all this thing and changing the culture of giving as a company and eating bread together, because this is the main goal in this world we're living on. Mr. Kluser, thank you very much.
Thank you
very much for being here. Mrs. Zherebtsova, thank you very much. Mrs. Kosmopoulou, thank you, really thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, sir.
Great,
So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Σας ευχαριστούμε και όλους. Να είστε καλά.